What's going on, everyone? This is GBall, and we have a new knife here to check out coming in from Ketuo. This is a brand spanking new release for them. It is called the Stabitha, and Happy as Larry is going to be the designer. You always get a COA card, microfiber cloth, and a couple of stickers. This is an interesting looking design, in my opinion. Wait till we get into some of the fine details with this one. Now, if you've never stopped by here before, welcome to GBall Vision. Feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know what your carry is looking like today. Let me know what knives you are hunting down. So one thing I wanted to really look at is going to be the lockup area. It looked pretty interesting from the photos. So it is going to be a titanium frame lock. We have studs, a front flipper there for the deployment. This is a DLC finish on M390 for the blade steel, and we have a matching pivot collar stud set along with the titanium backspacer. But take a look at this lock. That is going to be recessed in behind the actual frame itself. Don't have any exposed frame up here. I thought it looked really cool how this is done. You can see the frame move over and it's recessed behind the actual scales. That is a pretty cool way of doing this, and that should give us really strong lockup. We're going to see about that here in a few moments. I thought that was a really cool feature. And the design on the pocket clip, I am a big fan of this. You have this kind of spoon here at the very start, and then that's going to flare down and flare back up. You have no exposed hardware here. Looks nice and clean. We'll check that out here in a few moments as well. Perfectly centered up. The detent is nice and strong. The action on Ketuo and Reich's knives have gotten increasingly better over the last year or so. I haven't had any suspect type detents from Reich and Ketuo in quite a while, so that is something they have absolutely nailed down in the action department. And then as far as the closing action, that is going to be nice and smooth. Let's get a look here at the size. We're looking at 8 1/4 overall length, 3 5/8 of cutting edge, and it's going to be just shy of 3 3/4 of total blade. I have some comparison knives out here. We have the Spyderco Para 3 and the Paramilitary 2. You have more cutting edge than the Paramilitary 2 with the Stabitha. The handle isn't going to be quite as long, so much bigger than the Para 3 and not quite as long as the PM2, but more cutting edge. Two more here, both coming in from Ketuo. The Slashly is up top, that harpoon drop point. Love that aesthetic. And then here on the bottom is a brand new release. This is the Morgan, which is fantastic. They have released a bunch of awesome designs here over the last month or two. I always recommend, if you haven't been over there or haven't been over there in a little while, head over to Ketuo's website because they have some of the coolest knives and gear in the EDC world. In my opinion, it's not just knives. They have pens, lighters, pry bars, all kinds of really cool stuff, not just knives. Let's see how this pocket clip interacts with our hank here, see what it looks like in the pocket. Over that initial seam, nice and easy. And for a titanium clip, going to carry pretty deep. At the tallest point there, you might have a 1/2 inch, but that's going to look nice in the pocket. No exposed hardware. That could even pass for like a pen topper even. So people who like to be kind of concealed or inconspicuous, that might be a nice option right there. Retention on the way out is nice and strong. I'm not pushing down or anything, so that has good retention on it. Doesn't have a ton of clearance under there. Time will tell how it works with a little bit thicker seams. Now, your winterized Carhartts, stuff like that, you might have a little bit of trouble getting this in and out of insanely thick seams. But if we really want to get it in or out, this is pretty easy. Retention is pretty good though, and I really like the design of that. It is going to be right hand carry only. Get the arch nemesis out here and give the Stabitha a weight check, and I like to play a little game here on the channel with the new knives that come in. I attempt to guess the weight, and I always invite you to play along. You put your guess down in the comments, ounces or grams, whichever you prefer. Even if you already have a comment or two down there, go ahead and put your guess. And if you're enjoying this video, you like knives and gear, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you never miss another video again. I'm going to give this a go. Doesn't weigh a whole lot, I don't feel, but it is a good size. So it's a lighter weight knife for this size in titanium, which is kind of hard to say. You know, you think of titanium, you think of heftier, but not in 2026. I'm going to say that it feels very light for 8 1/4 or whatever it was. I'm going to say that it feels like it could be like a 3/8. Let's go 3/8. Oh! For those of you driving, 3.5 ounces and 98 grams is what it's coming in at. I will take that, considering the last video I did, I would think I was a full ounce off. I don't remember which knife it was, but it was a very sad effort on my part. It might have been that Megaron. Can't remember what it was, but I was like an ounce off. So, like I thought, doesn't weigh a whole lot. They were really able to cut the weight off of this feller. It's mainly all blade. I mean, you got that tall, long blade, and then a fairly skinny neutral handle. We'll grab the calipers out here and get a couple of measurements on the handle and blade. 0.43 on the handle thickness, 10.9 millimeters. And then we'll roll over here to the thickest part of our blade stock, and that's coming in at 2.9 millimeters, 115 thousandths. So I would say that's a fairly thin blade stock for this size of knife. We'll get a look here at the BTE, and our behind the edge is going to come in at 18 thousandths right there. So that is coming down nice and thin. Let's see what we're looking at here. So it thickens up as it goes to the tip, which is natural. 22 thousandths, and it doesn't thicken up very much. 22 is the thinner side of average on most knives. So we have about 18 here, and then running up into 22 thousandths up to that tip. That gives you a little bit more piercing and poking power, a little bit more strength around the tip. We'll go ahead and see what this edge is looking like out of the box here. We have our catalog paper. I think this is going to be a great poking and piercing type knife. As far as slicing capability, you're not going to have any trouble. I would say, as far as sharp, consistent edges out of the box, almost nobody is topping Ketuo right now. As far as consistently putting out really sharp knives right out of the box, Ketuo, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best, here in 2026. Noticed a big change at the turn of the year with Ketuo, and it has continued all year long. You know, if you go back 5 or 6 months and look at some of the Ketuo videos I was doing around that time, I say this feels a little bit sharper, a little bit cleaner. And as the months rolled on, I've said over and over again that they're nice and sharp. If you have a different experience, I would love to hear that as well. We'll get our off-grid driver out here, see what our hardware situation is. We have 2 body screws with T8s, and then a custom pivot there. non-tooled on the show side, and then it's going to be T8 on the back side, and then a hidden Torx for the pocket clip. So very simple to disassemble this knife. You just need a T8, 2 body screws, and the pivot, and you're inside nice and quick. As far as the sharpening choil goes, you experts will have to let me know, but looks like it looks like it's all right. I think you'll get a couple of sharpenings out of this, but you know, you experts can let us know down in the comments. I think that companies are starting to get better at the sharpening choil area. It's still an area that a lot of companies, you know, need a little bit of work in. You know, I'd say that's an all right sharpening choil there. But like I said, you can let me know. We'll go ahead and run this through a couple of checks. It is perfectly centered up there. Can't get over how this 8.5-inch titanium knife only weighs 3.5 ounces. That's pretty impressive. I mean, with the skinnier handle, you're able to lose a little bit of weight with it. And then using the frame itself for the lockup, of course, you know, that helps aid in a little bit of relief. There's no liners or anything like that. And I do see a little bit of milling in there for weight relief. So they were really able to keep the weight down on this thing. And then as far as balance goes, it's going to be right there behind the pivot, right before that 50-50 area. So pretty well balanced, I would say. I like that 50-50 area, though. You can choke right up behind the edge, and you get the full effect of this blade. You get all that edge there. Very nice layout. And then you can choke up there, get an index on that tip as well, if you have a little bit more precise detail type work to do. Let's go ahead. We'll introduce the Stabitha here to the spine whacker. And this is another department where Reich and Ketuo have excelled. The edges, the locks, the fit, and the finish. I mean, they've really excelled at every category that you could want. The only other thing I could really say is that I want them to experiment and explore with more steels, which they are starting to do. We're seeing S90V, S45VN, M398. So they are starting to do other steels, and that was one of the main things I wanted to see from them here in 2026, and they are starting to do that. So they're really hitting it on all levels, at least in my opinion. And they've actually started to fill that, you know, there wasn't a ton of awesome knives coming in around $200. You know, there's always been some here and there, but they put out like 6 or 8 designs that kick absolute ass, and they're all right around $200. And this is like 210, 215. The Slashley is like $199. The new Morgan is like $235. So they're really putting out some cool designs for a fair price. I know it's a decent chunk of money, but you know, you compare it against everything else out there on the knife market, and I think they bring a tremendous value to the table. We'll go ahead and we'll see if we have any up and down, side to side, and I don't feel anything. That feels locked up very good. I thought to myself that the way this is done, it should provide a pretty serious lockup. Let's go ahead. We'll start off with a light tap, see what we are working with, and it sounds good just on that light tap. That puts a ton of stress on the lock. And we'll close it, check it one more time. And then we put it way past what is normal with a double tap back to back. Sounds good, feels good. Exactly what we want. Let's do another. Yeah, sounds real good. You can hear the knife giving the thud to our spine whacker, and that's what we want to hear, that good solid sound. It just it's better that way. You know, there are knives that don't quite give the thud back, that still stay locked up nice. But when you hear that thud back, you know you have a good connection in there with your lockup. At least that's how I look at it, of course. No, this isn't going to be for everyone, and no knife is. I think that is something we can all agree on. Not every knife is for everyone. But I think there's going to be a lot of people who really like this one. The Stabitha from Ketuo. They have several, 3, 4 different versions of it. They got the DLC. I think they have a belt satin. And then I think there's a pearlescent finish version as well. So a couple of cool ones right on the release. The Slashley has 4 or 5 different versions. The Morgan has 4 or 5. Like I said, highly recommend going over to their website. I'll have it down in the description. Go check out the pens, the lighters, the pry bars, and of course their new knives. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the Stabitha. What do you think, and what do you want to see most of all from Ketuo moving forward? Do me a solid, hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to make sure you never miss another GBall Vision video, again, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I'll pop up a couple of new videos you haven't seen yet. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.